Hi, I'm King Derp here. This is my father, Johnny Storm 52. Makes the best quality content out there. I gotta say, I'm kind of a fan. I've been there since the beginning. Alright, hit that subscribe button. Alright, do it. Not just for me, okay? Alright, show some love for my father.
Very nice.
So today we're gonna be talking about the Star Wars movies from worst to first. Obviously, his opinions are wrong, so just don't listen to him. But I thought it'd be nice if we debated that. Anyways.
We're ranking everything from 1 to 12. Or we're going to go from 12
Yeah,
to
now
9.
you might say, what? They're 12? They're only 9. No. There's 12. We'll not be counting the Clone Wars animated movie. Starting with the worst movie,
Yes,
obviously.
that's what I was going to do. Start with
It's
the worst.
episode 5. I'm just kidding. You can put the pitchforks down.
Right.
Alright. Holiday special. What'd you say?
I have number 12, Holiday Special.
Alright, you can go first on your rankings, by the way.
I think they alternate. Right, we'll just see how it goes.
Just tell me what you gave
Quick
and why.
comments. Oh, rating from 1 to 10?
Did you not rate it?
I did not rate it from 1
Alright,
to
we'll
10.
give it a
but
rating now.
I
That's
can
fine.
rate it now because
Okay.
I have a pretty good idea. I'm going to give it a 2.
2?
Yeah, maybe it should be a 1, but it was written and directed by George Lucas, I believe.
It was, but I mean, does that make it a better movie?
Well, you can't give anything written and directed by George Lucas under a 2. That's just the law.
Okay, I gave it a 1.5. Now, I would have given it a 1, but I gave it that extra half point because 2 things. Life Day, and they brought back the original actors to do them, which, it's like, their performance was okay, but at least they brought him back.
Right.
So it does kind of connect the story together. If they just did random people, it wouldn't make much sense, which is what they did for the first half.
And the good quote. Oh, and I don't think it's canon.
Holiday special, I don't think most of it is canon, but the whole part of Life Day is, so we're gonna count it.
Okay, we're gonna count it. Memorable quotes from Holiday Special.
I don't think there are any.
I think the memorable quote is
Just in time for Life Day.
Oh, maybe. I think the memorable quote is, I didn't finish it. I didn't finish watching
Didn't finish. Watched 43 minutes of it, gave up.
Gave up.
You can watch on YouTube. You can try
Yeah.
it. Alright, test your endurance.
You
Come
can
on.
try.
You got this.
Okay.
Except don't watch the entire thing if you can.
So, who gives number
not worth
11 next? I do, because you started with your 12.
Yeah, you can go first.
Number 11, Phantom Menace.
I think he meant to say The Last Jedi.
Well,
Interesting way to say it.
Okay.
You can. So, what was your ranking though?
So yeah, Phantom Menace definitely 11. There's first of all, it was a political thriller.
Rating first. Explanation.
Rating
later.
first.
Give me a number.
The number
You can
I have in
go
my
into
head
decimals
is,
like 5.7.
Yeah. So the number is 4. No. Actually, you can't get written and directed by George Lucas, so...
Just what comes to mind?
5 comes to mind.
Solid 5 or 5.2?
No, a solid 5 because it is a Star Wars film.
Alright, 5. You heard it here, folks. So explain why.
We have problems. We have Jar Jar Binks, which is pretty much the train wreck. I think he lowered it by... If Jar Jar Binks is out, I think you get 2 more points. I think he lowered it by 2 points.
Lowered it by 2 points.
And... A memorable quote, this is pod racing.
Now this is pod racing.
Yeah.
I'll try spinning. That's a good trick.
Right. Those are you have only 2
and,
quotes.
And there's it's a trick send no response. And there's Master Destroyers. And then there's also
That's a quote? There's Master Destroyers. Oh,
and then there's
I'm sure it launched many memes. That does not mean it's a good movie.
Fine, okay.
Some of the worst movies launch the best memes.
And then Misa called Jar Jar Binks is also not a meme. It's a memorable quote.
Memorable quote.
Okay, so I got it. I keep going actually.
Oh no!
Is that
now
it?
You
Okay.
go with your
Last Jedi.
now you go with your number 10. If it's Last Jedi, in fact.
My number 11 is Last Jedi.
You go with Last Jedi then. Tell me.
I'll tell you why Last Jedi is worse.
Yes.
Than Phantom Menace.
Good question.
So. I'll talk more about Phantom Menace in a second.
Is it the special effects that are way better in Phantom Menace?
Now, The Last Jedi, I thought was a good movie. I did not like every Star Wars movie. Maybe not the holiday special. In my opinion, it's a good movie. There are just some that are a lot better than others. I like the character direction with Luke. The only problem is it kind of breaks the Star Wars universe a little. Like, that is not what he would do. It's an interesting thing, because, like, the thing is Luke, Leia, Han, they're all, Leia and Han, they're all doing the same thing. Chewie's doing the same thing, right? I mean, 30 years have passed. You would not be the same person you are 30 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You would not be doing the same thing. No. If you are in charge of position, which is why Leia makes more sense, she's a general, then yes, that makes sense. But for someone like Luke, who's a Jedi, like, you see all the Jedi change within, like, 10 years, so it would make sense. He's, like, this broken man. So it's enough time to, like, make sense to break his character. The problem is then they give flashbacks, which show that he's still the same person he was 30 years later, which doesn't make as much sense, in my opinion. Because the whole point is that it's, like, a hobo guy, right, who's, like, broken. But now it's, like, wouldn't make sense if he feels that way.
Hobo guy.
Like, well, he lives by himself.
Hermit.
And the reason why I think it's...
No offense to
the part where it gets bad also is it breaks a lot of rules about Star Wars universe. But even if we ignore that, if we just treat it as just, I don't know, I guess a film. It's just not that interesting. There's not that much that happens. It's like the middle, in-between movie. Didn't really advance the plot that much.
Stalls the plot.
A
lot happens, but for no reason. A lot happens for no reason.
Yeah, that's called a filler. It was a filler movie. It didn't really do anything that memorable. There's a couple cool scenes. Every Star Wars movie has a cool scene though, so it doesn't give it any extra points. Right. I liked, the cinematography was great. Like the lightsabers and stuff, that was amazing.
Actually, in the Red Planet. The cinematography was cool.
Yeah, thanks. And the foxes were the best part. The crystal foxes, most memorable thing
absolutely
in Star Wars. I mean, come on. Tell me you did not cry when you saw them running away. They pulled on my and Rose saving Finn. It made complete sense. Best Disney Star Wars. This is what we need. This is exactly what everyone wanted. We definitely wanted this in this.
Thank you, Kathleen Kennedy, for this.
Character arcs who, am I right? Who cares about these guys? Just start again. Why not? Switch directors mid series.
It's a good segue into my number 10. I know I'm sort of going
number 10.
My number 10 is Last Jedi. So
number 10 is and ranking for Last Jedi 5.5.
Yeah.
5.5.
Yeah.
Same thing.
I couldn't agree more about your 5.5.
All right. Well, tell me about number 10 though.
But that's my number 10, and is Last Jedi.
Oh yeah.
And most memorable quote from Last Jedi is
probably
there are none. Yeah, that's okay. I mean,
it's not anything too exciting, but
right. I think it's a test though for these films is how many you want to watch them over and over, or you just want to watch it once.
Okay, that's true. But what would you give it though?
5.5.
Same thing?
I'm in total agreement.
But you think Phantom Menace is worse?
I do. And I said I gave
Phantom Menace then I'll talk about my rating. So
your number 10.
Phantom Menace.
So your number 10,
Phantom Menace, we're all basically on the same page here. Yeah. I give it a 5.7. I would definitely not give it a 6. 6 means it's like I would watch it multiple times. Now, the thing with Phantom Menace, I think it was done perfectly. I think this is exactly what it should be. The problem is you start from the beginning. You can't have much action. Everything's starting to happen.
Every journey
and I think that's how it should be.
That
it should not have been like action packed and like from the middle, like episode 4.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I don't think a lack of actions would hurt it. I think we talked about it.
I think it fits perfectly into the universe. It's just not, it's a little hard to watch sometimes too. It's like there's some scenes that go on too long. There's some plots that go over kids' heads. Which is fine, and adult sense too. It's like you have to. It was more complicated than the original trilogy, which is why I think people like the original. It was a story.
Even the opening scroll was hard to understand.
That too.
I do think it suffered though because we waited 25 years.
13, I think. 13.
A long time.
Waited a while.
And everyone was super excited for it to come out.
That was part of the problem. He could never, even if it was the greatest film of all time, no one would think it's perfect. Or if they did, they would think it's not as good the next day.
Yeah, they would.
And that's just how these things go. But like a good example, the thing is with that, there's a problem with that statement though, is that's not what happened with episode 7. Episode 7, it was weird. I thought episode 7, well, we'll go more into that, but that thing was another 10 years almost, 9 technically, before the next one came out, and it's not like everyone thought it was terrible. Everyone actually thought, at least in my opinion, it was decent, pretty good. We'll get more into that again, but that's the only reason why that argument doesn't really work.
Fair enough.
Although it is part of it, because maybe, the hype train for Star Wars was there, and after Episode 6 ended, people just didn't think it was going to happen, so they didn't really, have as high of an expectation, because I guess just everyone thought it was going to flop.
I call it the hyper train. The hype train. So, so far, let the record reflect we are pretty much
now our decisions are probably going to start changing.
All right, maybe.
So, for the fourth, I'll go first this time.
This is number 9.
This is number 9. So the fourth worst Star Wars movie is Force Awakens. So we jumped to 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10. You can see I like these movies. This is a exact 7 in my opinion. There is no reason why this would be any higher or any lower. All right. Wow. The only reason I would put this lower. My mind has just been blown. Is if you just didn't if you hated 8 and 9 so much that you thought 7 was bad which is a bad way to judge movies, by the way. There's movies that come after it. But I think 7 was a solid start. It did follow episode 4 a bit, which is why it suffered a little bit. When they brought up the...
But it's okay. It's okay,
but it's nothing new. It's nothing new. People want to see something new. They don't want to watch the same thing, but just with another 30 years slapped on it.
My sister actually agreed with you 100%. I was happy. I felt like it was new enough. New enough. It felt like it was new enough, and I watched it. I'm happy to see a reboot, even if it was...
there were some aspects, though. I just didn't like what they did, but it's I don't think they should have changed it. It's kind of like episode 1. Kylo wearing black robes, another black robe character. It's a little bit cliche at this point. I like how it looks, but it's just, same thing. Has a red lightsaber, which I'm not that disappointed about that. I would like to see a villain at some point that has another, just a blue lightsaber or whatever. I know Anakin kind of did that, but it's not, it was only for a minute. But...
All right, so I'll jump in. This is why 7 crushed it. The weight of expectations.
Well, let's not talk about 7 that much. Let's talk about what you put then, and we can talk about.
You mean 7. For my number 9?
Your number 9.
Okay. Well, hopefully we both survive this because you may be attacking me. But I have at number 9, Attack of the Clones.
What'd you give it?
Well,
and I might let you live.
I first would like to point out that
the
clones never
give
attack.
Me the thing. What is it? Come on, tell me.
No, so
clones attacked in episode 2.
I give it a 6.5.
Good enough. Tell me why. Here's a better question. Don't tell me why it's worse. Tell me why it's not a 10. I don't think it's a 10. Just tell me why it's not. What makes it so it's not?
The amount of drama, the way, and I'm going to defend you here because you've enlightened me. The way Hayden Christensen was a problem. Directed. Not his fault. Great actor. Hayden, we love you. Come over anytime. Subscribe. Maybe we'll do a collaboration.
Celebrate Hanukkah.
Christians love celebrating Hanukkah.
Christmas and Hanukkah. Same thing. Either one. We'll choose. We'll do both.
We'll do both with you. But so the direction of him, I was not clear what I liked. It did clear up Anakin's whole issue. How did he feel about sand? Right? So I think we actually got a really good view on that there. But all his direction in those scenes, it just... And I think this is, I hate to say a bad thing about George Lucas, but
you don't like the character?
By George Lucas,
I think it made perfect sense.
It was the direction. It was the direction.
What part of the direction?
The way they made those scenes.
He's supposed to be uncomfortable. That's the thing. Think about it this way. Even if it didn't make sense, let's say he didn't plan it out, which is fine. If it makes sense story-wise, which in my opinion, it does. It makes sense that this guy should know nothing about relationships.
That's okay. I'm okay.
You're fine with that. Okay.
But I'm just saying, when they're on Naboo and they're aren't they in front of a fireplace on Naboo? What's a fireplace, romantic fireplace setting doing in Star Wars?
Well, that's where the... That's... I don't know.
It's out of place.
It's meant to be...
that's what I would say. The whole movie is out of place.
Some things are cliche to give it more mood. If it was that's why you'll never see scenes of graveyards and stuff in the broad daylight. Some movies try to do that. It doesn't work as well. It just does not give the same amount of emotion.
I think the biggest problem is the lack of
That's
cohesion.
when cliche is okay.
It's a lack of cohesion. That's why the other movies I rated higher have cohesion in them. They have the same tone throughout. They have the same sort of sense of humor that's more or less realistic.
I like
so
it when
slapstick.
they go to multiple kind of genres. I know some people don't like this just because
exactly.
it's fun. It's fun to see both sides. You don't want to. I would rather see one that's just like has a dark moment, everyone's silent, and then to get over that, kind of like comic relief, we have an action-packed moment. That's a good film.
You can have
in my
that, but
opinion.
it's just
it
all
does
over
not make it worse.
But it's all over the place.
Well, how does that make it worse?
It's not that it's just for comic relief, and in fact,
it's a war. It's supposed to be all over the place. It's not.
I mean, these crazy romantic scenes. They
Well,
actually
think about it this way:
if
we didn't have the romantic scenes, then we
yes.
would not feel. Episode 3 would be flawed then, because it would not. Then it would have to build up everything then. But by then, it's already over.
Do you feel like there was really a deep romantic relationship
Well,
established?
I feel like it's. That's kind of one of the problems. That's just okay. That's just that's a okay. Hold on. That's just if they made 4 episodes before this, whatever. It started episode 5, and they had another one where they just went more into it. That's kind of what the Clone Wars did. It makes more sense. Because it promised it did not have enough time to put the scenes in there, and the scenes where they did put it in there, people didn't like it.
What movie are we talking about now?
See, that's the problem with these movies, though, and the prequels, is that they don't have enough time to go over a lot of things.
Okay, because there was a gap.
There's a lot of stuff that happens. Episode 1's the beginning, and then episode 2 has to basically cover everything, and then 3 is just an end.
So why waste all this time on their romance?
Why waste it? So it makes more sense. So it gives a reason. It's an answer to why Anakin turns to Vader. It gives you a reason. It makes you feel with the character, even if he does. He didn't do it the best job. I'll give you that. He didn't. He could have done it better. He could have done it a lot better.
Hayden Christensen's career.
That wasn't his fault.
Because it wasn't his fault.
Because he was monotone.
So I'm saying
that's the critic's fault, though. That's not the author, George Lucas. He did that right. People were overly critical of him. They wanted to hate him.
It cost him a career.
Maybe if I'd known it cost him a career, I think it'd be fine if he tried a different direction. But now that we're here, it makes sense in my opinion. And maybe they should have gone over some things, even though I know they didn't have time for it. They should have made a longer movie or something. Or at least tried to show scenes.
Should have made it long. How long was the runtime?
It was like, I don't know, 2 hours.
All right. Let's take a quick break. We're going to deal with some background noise.
Yeah. All right, we're back. So,
thank you for our fine sponsors.
Around.
I just want to thank our sponsors.
Real quick, NordVPN, Raid, Shadow Legends. I'm here. Okay, I'll do them.
Just saying.
I don't care. I'm willing to sink down that low.
And special thanks to Sour Razzles for sending us this whole.
Yeah, they gave us an entire thing. That's pretty impressive.
Because they like our
they haven't paid us the money yet. All right, we'll do that when they get there. Razzles sponsor me. Let's see. So we're gonna have to go through this a little quickly. So we debated a lot about Attack of the Clones. Yeah. So I think you're wrong on that.
No, you. Did I give it a rating?
I'm willing. 6.5 is not low enough for me to hate you yet.
Oh, right. That's what I gave it.
So
right? I gave it a 6.
You gave it a 6.5. You gave it a 6.5.
6.5.
There we go.
Remember now. We'll check 6.5. I loved it.
Fine. Give it a 6. All right. Well, let's move on.
I give it a 6.5.
Next one.
You know why? Just for the arena scene. That's very well.
Arena scene was good.
Yeah, it was good.
That's why I was surprised how everyone thought.
But I think you liked it more also because you watched it when you were like 8.
I watched it a lot. I loved it.
Right, so like it's your favorite movie when you're 8, probably. It's hard to turn against it.
All right, next one.
Number 8.
Now, don't kill me for this. You know what? You do yours first.
I know what yours is. So mine is The Rise of Skywalker.
Incorrect. The actual answer was...
It better not be what I think it is.
The actual answer was A New Hope.
Oh, no! Stop. You're not my...
7.1.
I am not your father. I am not your father.
Okay, let me explain. 7.1 out of 10. Let's not forget that point 1.
Okay.
The point 1 does matter. A New Hope was basically The Force Awakens, just better. let's be real here.
Oh, come on.
The only thing, one of the major things is just that A New Hope came out first, really.
Well, it deserves credit because it came out first.
But let's review this now. What if you watch this now?
How it's light speed.
What would you think is better?
This rating isn't about just this guy walks in off the street and just starts watching.
Well, we're rating this on, would you watch it now? Why is it important? You know, why is it special?
Right.
So I'll give you that credit. It's special. Okay. Look, I like New Hope. Don't get me wrong. It's the same thing what episode 1 does. It's the start of the journey.
Yes. Now,
episode 4, it does a really good job of trying to set the scene. I think is what it does best. So, because it shows you everything. It shows you where the troopers are, who to fear, right? And use a lot of traditional kind of filmmaking and storytelling, where it's like, you know, bad guys wear darker, like red colored, right? The good guys wear lighter colors, and they like to show.
Well, the color thing is going to get cut in post because the stormtroopers all wear white.
And stormtroopers all wear but like Darth Vader wears black, for example.
Yeah,
they wear armors. They wear masks. Masks are meant to be scary because they're not recognizable human faces. That's why I think about it this way. You wouldn't think it makes sense. I mean, obviously now that you've seen the films, it wouldn't make sense. But if you saw the rebels wearing stormtrooper helmets, which technically would make sense because, like, let's say they killed them and they just took the armor.
Yeah.
Right? You wouldn't make as much. You'd be like, no, this doesn't make no sense. They're the enemy. They're wearing masks.
Clone Wars, stuff like that.
Anyway, my point is, so it uses a lot of traditional things, and it was ahead of its time. Nowadays, if you look at it, they had to change a lot before. I always thought the episode 4 was the episode 4 that came out. It's not. They added a lot. A lot of the effects are bad. They were improved later.
Right. Fair enough.
And it's
all right, so I mean,
it's in between. It's like in between all the movies.
On to my number 8, which was The Rise of Skywalker. Most notably.
Oh yeah, sorry.
No, so now I go.
What's your rating?
Oh, you want me to divulge my New Hope rating? I can't.
Not for New Hope. Episode 8, or sorry, the 8th one on your list. Rise of Skywalker. Yeah.
Rise of Skywalker
is a what?
Oh right, because we.
Give me a rating. Give me a number.
6.5.
That doesn't make it any higher than
Attack of the Clones?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's a tie then.
It's a tie? Okay. Split.
So they could go either way.
Frankly. Fine. All right. So, what about episode 9? Well, I'm going to pick something up.
Episode 9? You mean
about episode 9. Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, are we talking about it now? I thought we talked about it. That's all we did. We talked about it plenty.
We talked about episode 4.
About the foxes. Talked about the foxes.
That's episode 8.
Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was pretty good. We saw it in Italy, so we didn't get to see it with the full Dolby Atmos and all that. But it was fun to see it in Italy, frankly, when it came out.
I don't think it was any worse than we saw in Italy. I think they've been the same experience.
No stadium seating.
We watched.
Popcorn was not good, right? You didn't like the popcorn. But I mean, it was a good movie. The end, spoiler alert, gonna be on this?
Spoilers!
Spoilers.
Okay.
So the ending, we both agree 100% on this, is that it should have been, right? Should have been Kylo Ren.
All right. Well, before you kill us for saying we're what did they say these days? Anti-feminist? I don't know. Something. Can't watch strong women. The power. It's a bad way. That's a bad way to view films. First of all, it's just by Oh yeah, that's another thing I didn't like. Actually, that's not important. But
okay.
So
the movie,
hold on.
Yes.
So about episode 9, I
thought it was a fine episode. So I actually would give it a 7. I'd give it a 7. 7.5 even.
I forget what I was going on. I was like, oh yeah, we don't hate the character Rey. Well, I mean, I guess I don't hate Rey. First of all, Rey's fine. Whatever. I think it would have made more sense.
Her career was made.
Somewhat. They won't hire her for like anything else.
Oh, I think she's been in tons of movies.
I know she's been in a couple. They're apparently not gonna like her anymore.
Oh,
she's gonna do the same thing as Hayden Christensen.
Nope.
That's what they said. But
disagree.
It's not a disagree. That's like what they're going to do. Okay, but So the reason why it makes more sense that Ben Solo lives is from a storytelling perspective. He's been redeemed, right?
I don't
Ray has already done everything now. I'm just saying this for the audience.
Oh, for the audience.
Ray has already done everything.
Hello there.
So now it's like it makes more sense. It's like now it's the redemption of Ben Solo, right?
Oh, look at me! I know.
He's the rise of Skywalker. See, it's the Skywalker. It's all about the Skywalker. Now we transition to it's all about Anakin to it's all about the Skywalkers, which still contains a thing. That was actually the original script, by the way. This is what it was.
Right.
All right.
The original script.
Ray was Ben.
Just gonna have some of these razzles, these sour razzles, while we talk.
So Ben was supposed to die. Ray was supposed to save him, and then Ben was supposed to be, last Skywalker.
I think that happens. This gets another point. I think it's an 8.5.
All right, but now we're gonna talk about the actual movie. Okay. I think we mostly agree on these points. So, reason what'd you give Rise of Skywalker? 6.5?
No, I gave it a 7.5. No, 7.
7. So the reason I like Rise of Skywalker actually. Don't hate me.
And I'd rewatch it.
I would rewatch it. The thing is, it breaks the Star Wars universe. The characters they lost whatever they had in Episode 7. There's so many plot holes, which I mean, yeah, you can explain them later. But if you couldn't think of these stuff in the first place, then they are plot holes. Because you have to come up with answers. You have to make up answers, basically. You have to lie what it is. Which I like, right? Because it's like now there's less plot holes, which makes the universe more consistent. But it's almost so unrepairable. Like, there are just some things you can't explain how hard you tried. You can keep making stuff up. But the whole point of the filmmakers is to make things clear to the audience. What makes sense and what doesn't. So if you're gonna break what makes sense, then it ruins it.
Okay.
There are a lot of stupid scenes in this, which is why I would probably give it a lower rating.
Okay.
There are, stuff like that. Anyway.
King Derp has spoken, internet.
Yeah.
Listen to him.
He's not a good Star Wars film, but it is a good film, I'd say.
Bad ending.
And good Easter eggs and stuff. I know people don't like that stuff, but I love it.
And Chewie got his medal.
Gotta
admit that. Everyone knows that. All right, so you go next with your number 7.
Right, 7.
And this, I think...
by the way, your number 7 is wrong. I think you meant to put that at number 3, by the way, just so you know.
You're not supposed to know my list. It's supposed to be secret. No peeking.
Okay. Fine, you can hide.
We might have to do these things. We might have to do this remotely.
All right, well, cut this part out. You want to cut this out?
Whatever you want to do.
I don't know. We might keep this in.
All right.
If we're going to keep this in, then the next one after this is... Rogue One. 7.5. Solid 7.5. I don't think there's any reason it'd be higher. Maybe if you just love the fact that they went back to the original trilogy. I think that he did a great job. I was surprised how much better it was in like the Disney sequels. Maybe just because it's easier to write in an existing universe than make up your own. Vader's castle was there. Characters, acting, everything was great. Grand Moff Tarkin, not so much, but I don't think that makes the film any worse.
No, it doesn't really have impact.
It doesn't. It's just a personal complaint, really.
Yeah, I mean, if you're one with the Force, you're gonna like this movie, I think.
No, I probably would have given this like an 8 if I saw this like for the first time. But the thing is, like after you rewatch it, it just becomes less rewatchable. It's not as rewatchable as the other ones, in my opinion.
Only flaw, not rewatchable.
That's rewatchable.
100%. But it's one of the reasons it's not rewatchable is because it's like all about the last event, right, and their success. Best part, the fact how it just like boom smacks right into episode 4. I thought that was genius, honestly.
I was surprised it went into that far. I was like, the movie's over, and then I was confused.
It was amazing. I thought
that was amazing. What did you put though?
And spoilers ahead. Before we saw this movie, King Derp said to me, I don't want any spoilers. He said, "Oh, everyone dies."
I said somewhat of a spoiler. I think I said somewhat of a spoiler.
So that spoiled the movie a little bit.
The reason
just a little bit
why I said that, I wouldn't say this now. This is why I give like 0 spoilers now, except for like run times and how good it is. Is because in episode 4, they said many Bothans died to give this information.
Many.
You never see these people stand up in the crowd and be like, that was me. I did that.
That's ridiculous.
Do you see him? Okay, no, you don't.
That's
So,
absurd.
hey. So I remember reading this in an article. I was like, oh. And I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. So I didn't think it'd be that big of a spoiler. I was wrong.
Okay. That's all I need is an admission of guilt. All right. So then that was next on my list.
What's yours?
Mine is Return of the Jedi.
Which is obviously
coming
correct.
in as a 7. And I can tell you why.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, it comes in at 7.5. It's a close one. Because the first half of the
No,
movie...
this is what you get wrong. I don't know how you rate this way. I know I'm supposed to put my complaints towards the end, so I'll just give a sneak peek. I don't know. It's kind of weird. We both disagree on this. Return of the Jedi is like the most controversial for us. Well, that and we'll get into the other one.
Oh, I guess there are a bunch, yeah.
But because Dad likes the first half, I only like it to like that.
I'm not your father, because remember where you put.
I like both the halves, but in my opinion, the last half's the best part. That's what gives me such a high rating. And
Right.
Dad's is just the first part, and then towards the end, it gives
I would
us a
give
low
the
rating.
first half a 10. and
Look
the
here,
last
I'll
half
explain
a
some
7.
things. So the Ewoks, I always thought were stupid. Now I'm kind of starting to think about it, because it's like
They're
they're
highly-
a
they're highly
species. They're working
intelligent, they're
together. They're
geniuses.
still in a war, right?
Uh-huh.
They're both on the same side.
They think C-3PO is
They
a guy.
showed that some of the Ewoks died, which I like, because not that I want the Ewoks to die, but it shows that they're not like immune to
Yeah.
that they're still part of the war. They're still gonna die. They're not, ridiculously, I guess, overpowered. Like, you have to show some weakness to characters, which is what they didn't do. That's what they failed to do in the sequel trilogy. They failed to do that with their main character, which is why everyone didn't like her so much, and why I like the fact that, spoilers, she was a Palpatine, because now it explains more why. I don't think they should have gone with that direction in the first place.
Are we talking about Jedi, just to be clear?
Episode 9. I don't like the
What
direction.
happened to Jedi? Why did we stop talking about that?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Return of the Jedi. So he's wrong. I'm right.
Right.
Moving on. Next one.
Well, I mean, I think we should give out props to Boba Fett.
Boba Fett.
Boba Fett. Yes, thank you. For
And now he came back.
For being in 6. For being in
5.
6.
Or 6, yeah. He was in 6.
And,
He wasn't there for that long, though.
But, and he loses pretty quickly for him. Like,
Well,
right now, as a Mandalorian, or as we saw in Attack of Clones, he was much tougher, but basically, what does he just get drop kick? And the next thing you know, he's in the pit of a Sarlacc.
His jetpack malfunctions while being hit. Same thing as what happened to Jango Fett, actually.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Didn't seem. All right, so
But he
continuing
got
on.
redeemed in Mandalorian.
So did you say you're number 7 already?
We are on. I said Rogue One, right?
We talked about Rogue One, yeah.
So now we're on this.
Number 6.
6, yeah. Okay, so 6.
And Rogue One.
All right,
is
we're
my-
gonna have to crop
Rogue
this down
One
a
is
lot.
my
This is
6.
way too long.
Rogue One is my 6.
What did you
so
give
that
it?
means-
8? 7.5?
Give it the rating.
What's
I'm
your
giving it
rating?
no, it's a solid 8, 8.5. I don't know, somewhere between.
Okay. Well, we already explained.
I'm gonna give
Rogue
it
One.
8.5.
We already explained Rogue One. You just have a higher approval rating of it overall.
Maybe
I guess.
8.75.
All right, I think that's part of the reason because you grew up with the original trilogy, but
Ridge Tridge, as my
Ridge
son
Tridge.
calls it.
probably. I mean, I like them revisiting. I think it's better that they were revisited, expanded more in the original trilogy than they did, like episode 2 and 3. We already got the Clone Wars and stuff for that. We don't need more of that. But so for my number 6 though,
Yes.
was The Rise of Skywalker at 7.6. So again, same thing. I can't go any higher than 7.6. After that, I'm giving it more credit than it deserves. It's not good enough
No,
for me
I
to
know.
give
I
it.
wouldn't disagree. All right.
I'm just saying.
Not much.
That's where
I
I
think we
put
talked
it.
about Rise of Skywalker.
It was enjoyable.
No.
It was fun to watch.
Love to watch. Yeah,
And
and it's
watch
worth a
again.
rewatch. I mean,
All right.
basically everything from
Now, here's where Dad kills me. Let's go on to the next one.
Okay.
I'll start so that, you know what, you can start, actually.
All right. All I gotta say is we're putting together a crew, which was a great quote, but not very original. But
Rating
just
what?
really,
Rating what?
I'm giving Solo number 5, and I'm giving it a 9.
9.
And I think
actually
and the
might
most
change my
underrated Star Wars film, and because just got bad reviews, and people sort of bought into that and didn't realize it's a good movie. And you had to sort of see it. I think seeing
In
it on the big
theaters.
screen really helps a lot. We rewatched
we were confused why I got a 7. I remember we were blown away. We were like, what?
Yeah.
This was not a 7.
Yeah.
I would, if you haven't watched it already, watch it. It's worth it. It is not, while it's not important to the story, which I think was somewhat of a criticism to him, it does not advance the plot.
It's
not
okay.
all stories need to.
It's a solo story. It's not a Star Wars story.
It's a Star Wars story, I think.
It's a Star Wars story. It's not a Skywalker
what Rogue One did
story.
is that it's just like in a war setting. This is not so much. I mean, it is a little bit, but you know, it's.
Let me teach you something about film. No, to go back to the point I made earlier.
I think we talked enough about Solo. We're hitting 18 minutes.
Important thing about Solo,
like 30 minutes.
An important thing about Solo is that the tone, the theme, consistent, and that's it had just that right amount of humor and action and seriousness, just right, and you know. So
everything after this, you think is higher than a 9?
I do.
Huh. All right. Well, I might have. All right. Number.
Wait.
6 or 5? 5. 5.
You're at 5. Yeah.
Empire Strikes Back.
No.
Okay.
Can't believe it's true.
Don't kill me for it. I know a lot of
I don't believe it.
Episode 5 is either 1 or 2, maybe 3, or 4.
Wait, should I search my feelings? Should I know it to be true? It's not true.
Now, I think this is kind of reasonable. 8 is not bad. 8 is not bad. Now, people not like this rating because they think it's the best one.
Yeah, considering
a lot of people think it's the best one.
Some people
and a lot of people that did not grow up in 1980 think it's like the 4th best one, like my opinion. So it's basically split. So I understand the argument why I definitely could see. The thing is with the movie, I could see why you would give this a 10. I can see why you would think this is the best one. However, for me, I do not feel, in my opinion, it is not the best one. This one, for me, it was a little rewatchable. There's just some scenes I just want to get to the next one.
I want to rewatch it.
I just want to get over with this one.
I want to rewatch it every morning.
The problem is this, in my opinion, what this does. The only thing I can think this does wrong is that it shows a cool shot and then it's just the same thing for 5 minutes. So it will be like, whoa, here's this AT-AT, and then now they just all run away and stuff.
Everything
5 minutes. Some scenes go on too long, in my opinion. A little, not boring, but a little slow sometimes, I guess.
No.
Like when Vader makes them go to have dinner, except not really.
That scene's so short. I always felt like that scene's too short. They don't even show what they gave for appetizers.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's chocolate chip pancakes candy. No, it's not. But it's just, I don't know. Some scenes I don't.
I think watch the meal scene.
I definitely could see how I'm wrong on this. Maybe I just need to rewatch it.
You need to rewatch it.
But it's just, it never really was that high for me. This was nothing I would. I don't even know if I would rewatch it that much. It's not that rewatchable.
What character gets introduced?
That Yoda is there. Yoda, in my opinion, is way better in 6.
I'm just saying he gets introduced. And
he's introduced.
Who's your favorite bounty hunter?
He's crazy and he goes.
Your favorite bounty hunter?
Goes like this. I don't want to see that.
That's the only thing I'll give you is that Yoda is a little hokey. That's the only thing I'm going to give you. But your favorite bounty hunter gets introduced, right?
It's not my favorite one. People only liked him because he wasn't. Who do you think?
Jango Fett?
Jango Fett, of course.
Or the Mandalorian himself. Is
technically, it's the same armor. He just repaints it, and I didn't like the repaint as much.
Anyway, incredible introduction of characters, amazing advancement of characters. Features Harrison Ford probably.
I didn't like the Hoth
most of any movie.
That's really it. I just like the AT-ATs. I just like the AT-ATs and the bomb. What's it called?
It's like I think it's almost 40 minutes long.
So really, just the first part, I guess.
So that's your problem.
That's the part that drags along too slowly, in my opinion, for me.
That might be a little slow.
How
many AT-ATs?
Look, it's a great movie. It's just that's like the only complaint I have.
10. I don't know how it's not a 10.
We're not there yet.
All right.
So 8, solid. Not. This could definitely change. This is not like a solid 8. Actually, so all right, next one. So I'll go first again.
Okay.
Attack of the Clones. I just love it. It's a great film, in my opinion. I'll rewatch it all the time. It's not as rewatchable now that I'm older. I'll give you that. I used to watch the movie like 100 times, like a year.
100 times a day.
At least. Not 100 times a day. Like I rewatch this a lot. I just be amazed when it ends. Remember, I still get that feeling. A good Star Wars film should leave you when it's done. You're like, wow, that was great.
Written and
This
directed by
film,
George
leave me
Lucas.
with that. I love the action.
And I think
the
it
clones
was
were
written and
cool.
directed by George Lucas.
Count Dooku's there. Yoda does backflips. And we got to see Anakin as he's older. He uses 2 lightsaber. Obi-Wan starts to get more into his episode 3, where he has like the beard and stuff. You know, all the characters are there. They got rid of the whole weird episode 1 scenes like Jar Jar and like the council. The council looked a lot weirder then. It was like a lot blurrier and like their puppets. The switch from Yoda to CGI, which obviously if they did it now it would have been better. But I like that change just because it's more expressive. The puppet was bad in episode 1. It was really bad. And the original trilogy works because it's like, you know, the original trilogy.
Okay, well, we've talked this one to death.
Well, so yeah.
We talked about it before.
Well, I know, but this is somewhat for the audience.
Oh, I know. We talked about it before for the audience.
Okay.
We talked about 10 minutes, gave it about 10 minutes of airtime.
Oh, sorry. Actually, this is my third one.
Oh.
We're actually on Solo.
Okay, which we talked about.
Solo, which we talked about, 8.2. Solo's 8.2.
But not,
I might give it a 9, I actually think. But it's like, I'm going to have to change everything if I do that. And it's like, I would not think that Solo is the second best Star Wars movie, because that's not true.
Okay, well, it would still only be
Alright, well, anyway, so Solo is actually 4th place. Attack of the Clones is 3rd. What was your 4th place?
Mine was Force Awakens. And we haven't even, it has not been revealed. Big reveal. Force Awakens.
What would you give it?
So I give it a 9 also.
Force Awakens, not 9.
I thought it was incredible. I just thought, you know,
7 all the way.
I've talked this one to death too, but I mean, but I haven't mentioned, like, you know,
it's just episode 4.
In episode 4, here's the difference. Episode 4, no. Like, how many times, I just, like, you know, Kylo Ren, his whole character, he stops the blaster beam, mid-beam. And that, you have to admit, that was super cool.
That was
BB-8, super cool, right?
But then it's like, why did they do that?
Kylo Ren having, again, in the humor, Kylo Ren having his fit.
Some people thought that was too much. I thought it was a little too much at the second time.
Rey saying, "You'll release me," learning the Jedi mind trick on the fly. The Force doesn't work like that. On the fly.
That's not how that. Well, that's why I like the Palpatine thing. That makes it better, though.
But I mean, you have to admit, that's why it's so great, because it has that Star Wars sense of humor.
Not enough to be a 9. Though. That's what I'm saying. Not enough to be a 9.
I think we're gonna have to agree to disagree.
All right, so Attack of the Clones already went over. For you, number 3.
For me, New Hope. I think we've talked about New Hope quite a bit. So what's your number 3?
I already told you it was Attack of the Clones.
All right.
One far
so that brings us to number 2. And
wait, what was your number 3?
New Hope.
Oh yeah, New Hope. What'd you give it?
I gave it a 9.
Same? You could not tell me.
Okay, 9.1111.
All right, fine. So number 2.
Actually, you know what?
If you know me, this should not be a surprise.
Yeah, I have to give it a 9, because only in retrospect. Of course, when it came out, it was a 10. But, you know, like you said, when you look back and watch it.
Would you watch it again? That's what
I would, but I'm not dying as to rewatch it as even. Well, that's a good lead into my number 2, if I may.
Okay, fine.
I'm not as much, I'd rather rewatch number 2, somebody's favorite movie, spoiler, Revenge of
the Sith.
The Sith.
Obviously, an 11 out of 10 masterpiece film.
So just more rewatchable.
What number? Give me a number.
It's also.
It has to be higher than 9.9.
It's a 9. It's not a 10.
Okay.
Sorry.
You gave it an 8. You gave it a 7 on IMDb, and then I forced you to give it an 8.
An 8, maybe.
A 7. That's insultingly low.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you were right about the Hayden Christensen was directed to act that way, and that brings it down. But when we rewatched it, every single scene, I
don't think you're as eager to see episode 3 as you are eager to see episode 4. That's what I'm saying, though.
No, but I'd rewatch episode 3 before episode 4 again. In general, okay. We just rewatched 3, of course.
We did watch 3.
But I'm giving you full credit. Like every scene in 3 is solid.
The only complaint I would have is just the dialogue. Really, some dialogue could be better. That's about it. That's like 2 lines could have been better. I don't know. That's really.
They're very quotable.
Very, very, very close.
But it still suffers from the George Lucas's direction of, hey, poor Hayden Christensen. Again, Hayden, you want to come collaborate? We're here.
All right. Well, my number 2,
right?
As you know, if you know me, it's not a surprise. It's Return of the Jedi. Beginning, I like the Rancor. I like Jabba. I like all of that. Just not that good.
You know, the Rancor was weak.
Whenever I watch the beginning, I'm just like, I just want to skip to the end. That's just when the real stuff picks up.
But that's pretty.
So
cool.
then we get to the bottom half, which is, in my opinion, the better half, because this is when we get the Ewoks and stuff, which was like, the Ewoks was like the worst of the end part, I'd say.
I think we have to insert the Barney.
We already did. No more inserting that. We're in 28 minutes. Stop. Too much. This is too far already. No one's gonna watch an hour.
No, we're gonna cut it.
Yeah,
don't worry.
All right, so
what's Barney's
Return of the Jedi. So basically, we have Stinson.
Yes.
We have Palpatine. We have Darth Vader. We have Death Star 2, which originally I thought was a bad idea. It makes sense now. Looks cool. Maybe it should have been a little less complete. I don't know, but they rushed to make it. That's the whole point. And we have Luke with his new black outfit and hair and green lightsaber he built himself, and then we have the whole Force lightning. We have the battle against his dad, and then we have the ending, which is like the best part. And it's like we see
kids and dads never fight.
We see the dad, he finally gets redeemed. He dies. Everyone cries.
Yeah, that's usually what happens. The dad has to sacrifice himself because the kid screwed up.
No one cares about the dad.
Maybe I should
throw him into the reactor shaft. No, that's what happened to Palpatine. Except he comes back. No, he doesn't. It's a clone. Okay? It's a clone. It's not him.
Then the clone really attacks. They should call that one Attack of the Clones.
That actually would make sense.
All right. So that brings us to our number ones, which we've already discussed.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
so
this isn't surprising. This is what every Star Wars fan thinks.
Holiday special, right?
Holiday special.
Yes. Number one.
This was a masterpiece.
Yes. Holiday special.
Holiday special.
And directed by George Lucas.
I gotta say, best acting. All right. Best cinematography.
Go see it. I mean, just watch it for yourself. You won't be able to.
You will not regret.
You will not be the same after
you watch it. Okay, it's terrible. Let's be real here. If you are over the age of 30, 27, you're gonna think Revenge of the Sith the best. Now, I'll tell you why. Every scene is good. There was no bad scenes. There were just some scenes that aren't as good.
Okay, I'll just agree with you. You can just go and we can
Return of the Jedi was an 8.8, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that.
Oh, what did I think I mentioned mine, right? What? Revenge of the Sith. No, you're right. Yeah, no, I talked about it. Okay, continue.
This movie is like the only movie I would ever give it 10. It's perfect. It's masterpiece. It's exactly how it should be. The only thing I could think that they could change that I would like is just like movie mistakes. That's really it. Movie mistakes. Like
the lightsaber or something?
Like the lightsabers, some like robe is there. That's the only thing
you wouldn't change the direction.
I wouldn't change.
Hayden by George Lucas.
No, not at all. Okay. Not for a second. It makes perfect sense.
All right.
Every scene is good.
Every scene is good.
There was no bad scene. In my opinion.
I agree.
All right. Well then.
I said that. I was my point.
You'll be shocked. What's the best one in your opinion?
The best one. Did I say episode 1? Because I was close. Now, obviously, everyone knows it's one of the top. It's considered like one of the top 5 films of all time.
Yeah, anyone over the age of 50.
Interesting, and a completely neutral, right? Rotten Tomatoes. Was it the Rotten Tomatoes or IMDb Showdown?
Revenge of the Sith won, by the way. Just so you know, against Episode 5. Remember? No, they didn't. I remember because the Batman thing. Yeah. They rigged it, and then they made Episode 5 one, I think.
Episode 5 won, yeah. Anyway.
Because they didn't, because Episode 3 and 5 didn't get it. Okay.
So, Episode 5, a lot of people consider it best film. This is that over the age of 30.
Again, I can see why. I just don't think it's the best one.
And I'll just succinctly put it. Han Solo.
Captain Millennium Falcon.
Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford is the strongest, would you agree, the strongest actor in the Star Wars?
I always thought it was Luke, but now that I look at it, I think it's... I don't know. Harrison does a good job.
Yeah, his real name is Mark Hamill, just to be clear.
Mark Hamill.
So that features him. I think that makes the movie, and just the fact that it's a filler movie, as you would call it, but it's so satisfying.
In this case, it's not really a filler
movie. It's so hard.
That's what the difference is.
That's why it's genius.
The reason why Episode 5 is not a filler movie is because this does actually advance the plot. The villains win this time. A filler movie does not do that. Filler movie does nothing to plot. The villains win. That's the whole great part about
what I'm trying to say.
The heroes do not win this movie.
In a trilogy,
which is what more movies need to do. More villains need to win. I think that makes it up.
So 2 real quick points on that is, one, the second movie of a trilogy is usually the weakest.
Worst.
And the
third one is.
And actually, you would certainly concede you wouldn't concede it's the strongest of the Ridge Tridge, right? You think Jedi is better?
It's not. Jedi's a lot better.
Okay, absurd, sir. And then the second thing is, what you don't realize is, back in the day, whenever they made a sequel,
they were all bad.
Yeah. And this was the first one.
I still think don't watch any other sequel Disney movies that only stop at 2.
Lion King 2. Did they make a third?
Lion King 2 was not good. Lion King 1.5 was good though.
Okay, there you go.
1.5 was actually
so 1.5 was Anyway,
it makes fun of 1.
Long story short, episode 5, I could watch it every day. Not twice a day.
Now the reason why you lose in this case is because I can rewatch episode 3 about 100 times in a row.
Well, let's have a competition.
Okay, I could watch it. I could watch it.
We'll come back.
I could watch it 3 times. If you bet me
December 11th.
If you bet me $100 that I would not watch episode 3 5 times in a row, I would do it easy.
I would watch episode 5 5 times in a row.
I would watch it 10 times in a row.
I would fall asleep by then, so I guess.
Well, not 10. Let's be reasonable.
We'll circle back to try to figure out.
Well, what would you give?
How much
episode 5 to 10, right? In your opinion?
It is. It's 11 out of 10.
But the question is, how many 10s would you give? How do you give movies? Because that changes.
But I think it's the best movie.
Well, let's see. How many movies do you usually give 5-star 10s? 10 out of 10s.
Like probably 35 movies.
See, that's the difference. For me, this is the only movie I can think of.
Yeah, but you haven't seen as many movies.
I know that, but it's like I've seen some good movies. They are not 10s though.
10s are hard to find. Maybe 35 is a higher number.
I just feel like there aren't that many movies that it's like, because I'm hesitant to give a movie 10, because that means I think it's perfect, and there's a lot of things that I'd give a 9 and think it's not perfect. This movie is a masterpiece.
It has flaws. It's got your lightsaber flaws.
What lightsaber flaws?
Hayden Christensen flaws.
There's no. Well, name one.
You told me there were lightsaber flaws.
Well, that's a movie mistake. That doesn't detract from the enjoyment of watching the movie.
Well, and so Hayden Christensen's directed performance.
Hayden Christensen's performed.
But
it makes sense from a character perspective.
And it wasn't directed by George Lucas, right?
It was directed by George Lucas. All the prequels were.
Oh, interesting.
Everything after that was not directed by George Lucas except for 4.
Star Wars.
I think like 6.
Star Wars written and directed by George Lucas, yeah.
Maybe 5. I don't know. He co-directed after
I'll research.
All right, so episode 3 versus episode 5, both 10s. For me, it's not a 10.
We're gonna come back. I challenge you to come back.
We're at 50 minutes.
Another video, episode 3 versus episode 5.
We'll put this into 2 parts. This is way too long.
Well, we're gonna do a lot of editing, but I'm saying we may just want to do one video of episode 3 versus 5. That's it.
There's not that much to debate about.
Then we can cut this down.
I told you, I can see why you would think episode 5 is the best. I just can't put it at the best. I do not think it's the best one. I can see how you would think that. I wouldn't be mad at you for saying it's the best unless you're my best friend or something.
Right.
And I'd be like, what the heck is wrong with you? Although I think that was 3, right? Right, DugroPlayz?
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
So, to recap, our biggest disagreement really is about
probably
New
just
Hope.
6 and 4, right?
Yeah.
And 7. 6, 4, 7, I think is what we disagree about the most.
Yeah. Other than that, we agree. So
we agree mostly on.
Tell us what you think. Hit that like button down below. Or
let the professionals take care of it. All right. If you like this video, make sure to hit the like button down below. Make sure to comment, subscribe, and turn on the notifications so you don't miss another video. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out. Bye.